we get to hear from Jared Goff. Ooh, haven't really heard from him at all. He got shipped out of the Rams to Detroit. Really, I mean, you go from playing with Sean McVay to Dan Campbell. Oof, if you weren't already a good quarterback, a great quarterback, you're going to take a little bit of a ding, a little bit of a hit. And Jared Goff already had a couple of dings and scratches on his can as well. So this isn't the perfect or even a good scenario for Jared Goff, but let's see what this Lions team is trying to accomplish. We've heard from Dan Campbell, and that's really it. We haven't really heard from anybody else in this Lions team, so let's see what we get here. Jared Goff says the Lions' goal is to be, quote, extremely competitive this year and win a championship. It can happen fast. Yeah, it could happen, but I don't think that's what the Lions should be kind of focusing on year one under Dan Campbell. You really should just kind of be focused on winning one game. We got 17 games this season, and you don't want to be the first team year one to go 0-17. That would be a little embarrassing. I mean, at least the Lions, when they first went 0-16, they waited a little bit in the 16-game schedule. Like, when did they go 0-16? Like 2014, I want to guess. Let's see what we get here. Here we go. Lions overall record. What do we got there? 0-17 season, 0-16 season, 2008. So, I mean, they waited till basically the end of the 16-game era to go 0-16. You don't want to, start the 17-game era going 0-17. You just don't want to do that. So, Lions not looking great out here, but Jared Goff's a little optimistic, so we give him a little credit for that. Alrighty, do we get a full quote here? Here we go. Not a full quote. Okay. So here we go. Joining Blow in the celebration was Jared Goff. They were talking about the celebration of his girlfriend winning the Olympics or something like that. So joining Blows in the celebration was Jared Goff, who's experienced a whirlwind of his own in recent years. 4 years ago, he was starting for the Rams team coming off a 4-win season and helped lead his club to the playoffs with then first-year coach Sean McVay. An offseason trade to Detroit aligns him with first-year head coach Dan Campbell with the two tasks to turn around the 5-11 Lions. I mean, if you want to turn around a franchise, I'm sorry, Dan Campbell's not the head coach, and I don't think Jared Goff is the quarterback. I give more faith into Jared Goff than I do Dan Campbell, but we'll see how it all comes together. But they're being optimistic, and this is going to be a real tough team to turn around with those two. I don't want to call them clowns. One's a clown. That might be a little too harsh, but Dan Campbell's a little bit of a clown up there. I don't want to disrespect him, but I'm sorry. Jared Goff, we'll see if he's clownish this year. That isn't daunting to Goff, who said, quote, it can happen that fast. And that's our goal, is to be extremely competitive this year and win a championship. So, I mean, I would just focus on not going last in the division. I mean, you've got the Vikings, you've got the Packers, you've got the Bears. It's like, I can't see y'all even beating any of those teams, let alone winning a game this year. So I know they've got big aspirations, and you go into every season thinking, hey, it's Super Bowl. We can win the Super Bowl. We can win the Super Bowl. Our team is good enough to win the Super Bowl. But, I mean, when you've got a head coach in Dan Campbell, I think you just got to temper expectations. And I don't love, going through the rebuilding process and, taking steps. All right, let's win 4 games this year. Let's build on it next year and win like 6 or 7 or 8 games, and then year 3 we make our playoff push. I hate that line of thinking. I really don't think any team should ever really be using that. I really think you should have the mindset of, yeah, we're going to win the Super Bowl every single season, but this Lions team, I can't get behind that line of thinking. It's got to be a very, very slow, small rebuild. We've seen this Lions team try to rebuild forever, folks. I mean, let's go back to their 0-16 season. You can't get any worse than 0-16, so there's only up from there. There's no going, -1 in 16 or 15, however you would even calculate that. I don't even know. So 0-16 is the worst you can do. What have the Lions done since 0-16? Because they've been at the bottom of the bottom, and they've always had kind of this thought of, all right, let's start rebuilding. Let's rebuild and see what we can do. So let's take a little journey on what this Lions team was doing ever since the worst season in NFL history, the 0-16 year. Alrighty, so they go 0-16 in 2008 to 2009. They go 2-14. a nice small step. That's what the Lions should be expecting this season, like a 2-15. Maybe we'll even give them a third win because of the kind of 17-game schedule. We'll give them the 3 wins and 14 losses, but this is kind of the small step you expect them to kind of go with. Then in 2010, they go 6-10, very, very good building block, and then 2011, they go 10-6. Now, and they made it to the playoffs. They lost the wild card game, unfortunate. But this is kind of what we should be expecting from this Lions team, a 3-year rebuild that at year 3, you make a wild card and have a chance to win it. This is what Dan Campbell's tenure is probably going to be looking like here. And this happens all the time, folks. So they made the wild card game, but then it was time for another rebuild because they were trashed the very next year. 2012, 4-12, 2013, 7-9, and then 2014, 11-5. So another kind of 3-year kind of starting from the bottom, working your way up, and now you're in the playoffs. 2014 11-5 season, going to the wild card game and losing in the wild card game. Classic Lions. Do they start the rebuild process over again? Kind of a little bit. They go 7-9 the following year, 2015. Then they go 9-7. They make a wild card game again, lose it again, and now they're back to 9-7 2017, 6-10 2018, 3-12-1 2019, and then 5-11 last season. So they have truly hit bottom of the rock bottom. They haven't been able to kind of, hit rock bottom, slowly build their way up, make the playoffs, go to back to rock bottom, slowly build their way up, make the playoffs. They haven't been able to do that over the last 4 seasons. So they bring in Dan Campbell to try to do once again the 3-year kind of turnaround. Very, very trash, either going 2-14, 4-12, or 7-9. The 7-9 season was pretty solid. I don't see Dan Campbell immediately jumping to that 7-9 season. But you just slowly build on a couple of wins here. So I know it's kind of in the mind that they think they can win the Super Bowl, but yeah, they won't. They can't. I will say the Lions cannot win the Super Bowl. They physically cannot win the Super Bowl. I don't think I've ever said that about an NFL team, but yeah, the Lions are the only team that will not win a Super Bowl. The Jets could win the Super Bowl this season. It's a possibility. It's very slim, but I give them more credit than what this Lions team with Dan Campbell can do. So, I don't want to knock these people's ambitions, but Lions players, y'all should be thinking about winning one game. Just take it game by game. That's how y'all really should look at it. Yeah, maybe we win the Super Bowl, but let's just take it game by game. Game 1, we win. Then we're looking on to game 2, and maybe we can start thinking, well, maybe we can go undefeated. But go to game 2 and then win game 2, and you're like, all right, maybe we can go to the Super Bowl, but we have to win game 3 first. So maybe just take it game by game. You lose game 1, then you're like, all right, let's try to get the win. Let's try to get one win this season. Something like that. So, Jared Goff, big optimism, and I love it, but I don't think that's what this Lions team needs overall. I think you need slow, small goals around Dan Campbell. But we'll see. We'll see if they shock us. It would be a big shock if they did.